Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit my sister's miracle baby after what she did to my dog? So my sister 32F had a baby last year after years of struggling with infertility. We were all happy for her. She called him her miracle baby, and honestly, I didn't mind the attention he got until things got weird. I 28F have a golden retriever named Benny. He's 5. Sweetest boy alive. Everyone in the family loves him. Even my sister used to until the baby came along. One time I brought Benny over when I visited. He stayed on his mat, didn't bark or even move. The baby started crying and my sister went, "I think he's making the baby nervous," and asked me to put him outside in the middle of winter. I said no and left early. That was strike one. Next time I saw her, she told me straight up she didn't want Benny around her son because he's a dog. I said okay, whatever, and stopped bringing him. But I could tell something shifted. Then one day, I was out of town for a weekend and she begged me to let her stay at my place because hers was getting fumigated. I agreed, thinking it was chill. I come home Sunday night. Benny is hiding under the bed, trembling, looking all scared. I find out she locked him in the laundry room for 2 days straight because he was staring too much, and that made the baby fussy. No food or water bowl, just locked him. I lost it. Told her she was never setting foot in my house again, and that she was lucky I didn't call animal services. Fast forward a month, she's going back to work, and suddenly I'm her first choice for free childcare. Wants me to watch her baby 2 days a week. I said no. She flipped and called me bitter and selfish, and said I clearly don't understand what it means to love family unconditionally. My mom got involved and said I'm being cruel when I could be helping. But this isn't just about a dog. It's about how she treated something I love without remorse and now expects me to drop everything and help her like nothing happened. Am I the a-hole for saying no to babysitting my nephew because of what she did to my dog? Top comments. Not the a-hole. What she did to Benny is horrible. You trusted her with him and she locked him and didn't even give him food or water. Next story. Am I the a-hole for yelling that I have nothing to do with my ex's unborn child because I am not the mother? I 25F was in an on and off again casual relationship with Jeremy 27 meters for over 4 years. What I mean by that is we were never seriously dating, but we were exclusive. So no sleeping with others, and that wasn't because we were planning to be together at the end, but to reduce the risk of STDs or pregnancies and paternity questioning. I had met his family a few times. They liked me, but I wasn't around them very much. Kind of the point of being casual and everything. Feelings did develop near the end of our on and off again period, and we broke up for real for 6 months. He told me he didn't want it to end. I wasn't sure he was serious enough about making a serious relationship work. I told him that. I was open to one, but some of his actions made me doubt. 4 months ago, he came to me and told me he had worked on himself and he was ready to be a true partner. We talked it out, and we got back together for real this time. I spent some time around his family this time, and we talked about the future and our goals. 2 months into our serious relationship, his ex from before the start of our original relationship announced she was pregnant, and that the two of them had slept together while he and I were broken up for the 6-month period. He didn't deny it, but he said he didn't want her. It was blowing off steam one weekend, and how he was still committed to me, and there would be nobody else ever because I was it for him. I told him I didn't want to be involved in a baby thing. That he was having a kid and I wasn't, and I was out. Since that point, he has repeatedly tried to get me to change my mind. The mother of his child has tried to talk to me so she can yell about how unfair it is. And his family have begged me to come back, that they love me and never liked her, and how he and the baby need me and they don't want to be left dealing with the actual mother, and how good of a mom I would be. I was blocking people all over the place. But in the end, I lost my temper, and I set up a group chat with all of them on a different number and yelled in a voice message that I am not the mother of my ex's unborn child, and therefore I have nothing to do with this baby or the situation, and I won't take him back. I won't have anything to do with this, and if telling them all in one place needed to happen, then here it was. I stayed in the group for a few hours before growing tired of the mother of the child being outraged that I would speak to her like that. Where my ex was pleading and saying I couldn't dump him when he didn't cheat, and his family saying how unfair I was being and how needed I was. Now I kinda regret doing it because I wonder if they'll actually leave me alone or still look for ways to contact me, and it might be more pissy than before. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Totally not the a-hole. Not your circus. Not your monkeys. Just go no contact with everyone at this point. Next story. Am I the a-hole for breaking up and treating him like a stranger after he falsely promised marriage as a condition for living together? My F32 boyfriend Alan M34 and I have been together for 5 years. We talked about marriage since year #2. We put all our cards on the table, including deal breakers and expectations. We agreed to move in together on the condition of getting engaged. He told me that he would propose before the end of the year. My family was dead set against it. They said moving together without a ring on it was risky. I paid no ring and went ahead. It's been over 2 years. No engagement, there has been no proposal, and there's no ring. In the meantime, I've kept my word to be there for him as a partner. He lost his job and I took on some extra work to cover all our bills. He found a new job, and I coached him through problems with his new boss. His family has a history of conflict and are constantly creating bad situations for themselves, and I've done my best to help him solve their crap without being too judgmental because at the end of the day, it affects him. I've asked him about our engagement so many times that I feel like I'm begging. He has been vague and has asked to leave our conversation for another day because he's tired, and wedding plans would be exhausting. I've been direct and asked if he changed his mind. I need to know because he repeatedly said otherwise before renting a place, and I need to know where I stand. I'm not presumptuous. I don't need a flashy, expensive ring. I just need to know that he meant his promise. We tried this conversation again, and he took it lightly. I tried again days later, and he looked annoyed when I'm just asking for a clear answer. He has postponed the proposal without a clear reason. What bothers me is that he was more open to it back when he felt vulnerable. I don't want to be with a man who will only mention marriage out of survival, and I told him. I asked him a few weeks ago because I can't deal with monosyllables, changing the subject and the general limbo. He snapped at me and said that a relationship is much more than a wedding, and that I'm pressuring him. I swallowed my pride and reminded him that I loved him, and that spending the rest of our lives together was all I wanted. He softened up and said to please understand that he loves me, but pressing the issue was hurting our relationship. I asked if that was a no, and he said he never said that. I feel like a second-class person in his life, and I don't know how he can love me and ruin my trust. I found out that he won't buy me a ring, but he put $1,500 towards his younger brother's 30th birthday celebration, all while I'm covering a bit over 60% of our expenses. I confronted him directly, and he looked like he didn't know what to say. I ended up crying because he's changed so much that his efforts to help me celebrate my birthdays have gone a bit half-butt. He's giving out money that he can't afford to spend, but I had to buy my own Sara Lee cake while trying not to make him self-conscious about spending. I decided to move out after feeling crushed and being convinced that he lied to me. Our lease ends on May 30th, and I told him that I'm leaving. He asked me many times if I'm 100% sure this is what I want, and I said I have no choice because he walked all over my dignity. I'm sleeping on the sofa because seeing him hurts a lot. He has tried to talk, but I'm afraid this will turn into another 2 years of me pouring myself into his needs, and he will just keep stringing me along. He asked if we could at least talk to the landlord and see if we could get a 3-month extension period, but I declined. He freaked out because his joint custody agreement included that he needed a place of his own because his ex hates his family and refused to allow their kids to spend extended periods with Mill. I said I'm sorry, but he just needs to get moving and find his own solution. I'm leaving on Monday so that I can stay with a friend. I don't care if I still have to pay for my remaining portion of the rent. I don't want to see him. He came to the living room because he wanted to talk and asked me if I would be comfortable moving on to someone else. I refused to answer and have been short with him because there's no way that I can forgive him. To be fair, he does look drenched and emotionally disturbed by my decision. I've already blocked his entire family, and when he found out, I said I no longer have any obligation towards anyone on his side. He asked to talk about our relationship, and I asked not to interact because it makes me want to cry. Last night, he went to sleep on the futon next to where I'm sleeping and said he just wants to stay close because he will be crushed once I'm gone. I asked him to please go to the bedroom or I'll just be forced to stay in a hotel. He says he understands my point of view, but that I'm treating him like crap. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole funny how when you treat him like crap it's a problem, but when he does it to you, it's status quo. Next story. Am I the a-hole for following through on the prenup now that the tables have turned? This is a long story, and I am trying to obscure my identity by slightly changing some details, but overall this is accurate to what I'm going through. I 30F have a child from another relationship, and while getting out of the toxic relationship with his father, I ended up with my current partner 32M. Now when we first got together, there was a major accident that left me bedridden for a few weeks. Think multiple broken bones and surgeries. He told me at this time that he anticipated marrying me one day and would like to move me/my child in. The caveat was that this farmhouse was his inheritance and he wanted to protect it. I only had a vehicle at this time and understood the hesitation to risk something that had been in his family for generations. I agreed. If we got married and it didn't work out, that I would walk away with what I came into the marriage with. A few months passed by and he says to me directly during a conversation about the level of repair this nearly century-old house needed, that if he passed without having biological children with me, that the house would pass to his brother and his wife. I agree again. I would have no house if this happened to me, but understand how much this particular home seems to hold for his family. Come to find out that accident I had at the beginning of the relationship was found not to be my fault at all, and those at liability want to settle immediately in the 6 figures. My lawyers have said they are fairly confident we will win with the video evidence we have, and they are going to be going for the full insurance coverage amount of a few million. Meaning after medical bills and lawyers' fees and taxes, I will be financially set for life if I buy a homestead and invest the rest. My partner has suddenly changed his tune and no longer wants us to have a prenuptial at all for our upcoming wedding. On the other hand, I have doubled down and told him I will not be marrying him without one. One that states the home that I will buy with my settlement will be sold when the youngest child has turned 18 and left the home if I die, but we can live together in for as long as I am alive. He can have his family's farmhouse completely separately. He has lost the plot. Accused me of being money hungry, and it changed me. I told him this is to protect my children. I have seen how money after one's passing in the family corrupts even the most pious of humans. Am I being the a-hole here? Top comments. Not the a-hole, but it appears your fiance is showing you who he is. Where else has he exhibited the concept that the rules apply to you but not to him? Where else has he shown that he is willing to take from you but not give to you? Seriously think and make a list. Consider if this is the man you want to marry. If so, I suggest pre-martial counseling. Separately talk to a lawyer about putting this money into a trust with all the rules and guidelines you want. This should protect it no matter what you do in the future and who you marry. Make sure the trust is set up with that in mind. OP replies, that is exactly what I was doing with the lawyer. The house would be owned by a trust with a separate account to pay for taxes and maintenance and bills as needed. Each child would have an account for educational purposes / buying their first home. Yet he says because he would have to leave in his 50s or 60s, it is patently unfair. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting my sister arrested after she destroyed my clothes? So, I 24F live with my younger sister, 21F, while we both save up for our own places. It's been mostly fine, but lately, she's been acting super jealous and petty over the dumbest stuff, especially my clothes. I work a decent job, and I like fashion. I save up and occasionally treat myself to nice things. Think Zara, Abercrombie, nothing outrageous, but definitely stuff she doesn't buy herself. She constantly borrows my clothes without asking. I've asked her to stop multiple times, even put a lock on my closet door, which she broke. Last week was the final straw. I came home from work and found a pile of my clothes, my favorite leather jacket, some designer jeans, a silk dress I wore once, all shredded and slashed up on the floor. Like someone went full slasher movie on them. My heart dropped. I asked her what happened, and she just smirked and said, maybe now you'll stop acting like you're better than everyone else. I completely lost it. I called the police and filed a report. She thought I was bluffing until the cops actually showed up. I showed them the damage, the receipts for the clothes, I keep most of them for returns or resale, and the broken closet lock. She was arrested for property damage. Now my parents are freaking out, saying I took it too far and that she's just a kid and family shouldn't call the cops on each other. But I've had enough. This wasn't an accident or a dumb prank. This was straight up malicious. So, am I the a-hole for pressing charges against my own sister? Top comments. Not the a-hole. Just a kid at 21? She's legally old enough to drink, vote, and wreck her own life, which she did with scissors and pettiness. Actions have consequences, and she carved hers into your wardrobe. You didn't get her arrested, she did. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel or posts.